to the group here. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about it. Some of the stuff that you may know, but take it as a reminder today so that you start training your form this way. In the past, I talked about 50-50, where you execute the movement, why you do 50-50. In the past, I also talked about the fold, why you have to have the fold. Yesterday, I taught push hands in my elite class, talking about the fold. It helps them to understand why it's so important to keep the fold, because when you have the fold, and somebody were to suppress your fold and you lost your fold, you go out very easily. So those things. I will also talk about the rotational, how the body rotate actually, and actually how you should watch for those kind of things. Okay. Then how you center your hand, how you check your finger, how you position your right hand and left hand and right hand doesn't cross, that kind of stuff. First, I want to talk about the fingers, which we already talked before, but the position of the fingers. Very basic idea. A lot of time when we do lazy to tie code, I will probably start from the beginning of the form and talk about those hand position. Probably will not finish all of it. By the time I did half of it, I think you have an understanding of where those positions are. For example, we do lazy to tie code. Lazy to tie code the position, I'm going to stand at this angle so you can see me. Lazy to tie code position is this way. So the finger, we use the left leg and the left hand. The finger, right here, the middle finger, it's around your eyebrow. Why is that? Because the application of this move is to attack the face. But you can argue with me why sometimes I do the form and I just do it this way. Okay. Was it intentional when I'm performing? Possible. My teacher do it all the time. Is that to confuse the people? Possible. Did I forget? No, I didn't forget. I remember. A lot of time when you do a movement not consistent with what you taught, there are times when you just want to do it. There are times that you did it and it was not correct the way you teach it, but you are aware of it, you're okay. As long as you're aware of doing something different from your form that is supposed to be done, and you know you do it different, and you're doing it different on purpose, or doing different by accident, but you knew what it was, it is okay in Wuhao. So there's no such thing as that you have to do it that way. The only time I say you have to do it that way is because you're following rules. We have to set up rules so that everybody's consistent. But in the process of your own training, when you're doing something different, but it cannot be totally different. It can be a little bit higher, a little bit lower, a little bit to the side, that kind of stuff. Not if the white crane split wing is like this, if you do a white crane split wing like this, I'm going to have a problem. Or you do your white crane spring like this, I'm going to have a problem with you, and I'll tell you that's wrong. But if you do it like that, do it like that, you do it like that, it's all okay, as long as you know you're doing it something different. Okay, make sure you know you're doing it at that time. Not say, oh, I forgot. No, you cannot. You know you're making mistakes. So lazy to tie code, for example here, this right hand matches with your left hand and the elbow. So it's not like that. It's like that and it's that. So today's lecture, I'm going to show the correct way of doing it and how you can change it yourself later, but not too much. Not intentionally. Could be intentionally, but you know you're doing it. Okay? So this is how it is. So we keep the center. So the left hand doesn't pass the right hand. Remember, our founder have a theory to say that left hand doesn't pass the right hand doesn't pass the left hand, it doesn't cross, but in the process of a journey, it does cross. For example, this. Deflect, intercept, punch. So it cross. Okay? So it cross. So some exception, but most of the time we try to keep it, like for example in lazy to tie code, we keep it in the center. So this is the center line. That's where we kept it. We never do that. Okay? Never. Okay. So that's lazy to tie code for that move. Okay, let me talk about some of the terms that I use. In the teaching, when I say pivot, I mean toes down. A lot of time I was watching my video, I was terrible. I tell people pivoting, and I put my feet like this. See that? I put my feet like this. Actually, it's supposed to be like that, but because I've been practicing for so long, even though I put my feet like that, it looks like I'm touching the ground, but I'm not. Because the angle that you see from here, my heel here, is like touching the ground, but it's not. It's just a little bit above. But for your purpose of practicing, always lift it up, okay? So don't follow my bad habit. Like I said, I know I'm doing that on purpose. I know I'm doing that not on purpose. I knew it was not a good way to confuse the public, but who cares? It's me. But I care for you, so that's what I'm telling you. So when I say pivot, I mean the toes are down, okay? So pivoting is on the toes. Rotating is on the heel. Just remember some of the terms I use. So when I say rotate, I mean using your heel to rotate. When I say turn, I mean the waist is turning, okay? The waist is turning. I say bend your knee, raise your hand. And I say turn and then pivot. Beginning of Tai Chi. Okay. Another thing is very confusing. It's side and square. All right. I use these terms since the pandemic time, honestly, because I've been training quite seriously during pandemic time. So I try to find out some of the common features in the Wu Hao, so it make my teaching more effectively using the same words all the time. So it takes my students a long time to understand the word side, understand the word square. So today I'm going to emphasize. When I say something square, I mean this hip and this hip, it's the same line. It's square. That's the meaning of square. Okay? This. Okay? Is this. That's the meaning of square. Is this. Okay? So this hip and hip, same line. Now if the hip changes, so this hip in the front, this hip in the back is called side, on the side, okay? So when that does happen a lot in Wu Hao. And I found out it was so consistent, I decided to use these words for teaching. My teacher never taught me that way. He's more into spiritual part of the form. He's more into making the form beautiful and all that. He doesn't get too much on the technicality of how much you need to do it. But I like to do it because it makes my teaching consistent. Like the clock time. My teacher don't like clock time. My teacher always say 3 o'clock, always say 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock, which is 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock. He never used 10:30, 1:30. He says too much for him. So I decided to use it so that it make my teaching easier, and also to force my student in America, say, hey, you need to go to 10:30, you need to go 1:30. So they know exactly where to go, and they will always remember the form to go that direction. The good thing about that part is that everybody become consistent, and when you perform in a group, the energy is so strong because everybody is in the same direction, same spot, the right place. Never go more than 10:30. I said always at 10:30. I don't mean 10:40. I don't take it. So everybody do it. When I took the group to China for my Sifu's 80th birthday, he was shocked that everybody was together as one unit. And he couldn't believe that I took about 6 people there. 4 of them never met each other. 2 of them from different country, and the other 2 come from different part of America. They never met. They met in China because I brought them there, and they were together. So it works, okay? So when do you square? When do you square? When do you go on the side? That's very important. If your left hand and your left leg is in the front, whether you're doing this, whether you're doing this, and the right hand is on the back, or whether you're doing this, whether it's doing that, it's always on the side. Okay, like lazy to tie coat. You see that? The left hand and the left leg is in the same side, same hand, and it's ahead of the right side. When is it like that? So when we do brush knee, it's like that. It's square because the right hand is the opposite side of the left leg. So anything the hand and the legs are opposite, it's square. Again, anything that is opposite, left hand or left leg are opposite. On each other, it's square. Anything is not that, it's sideways. That's very simple. So think of square. When you square, you square when the opposite of each other on the left leg and the left hand, or the right leg and the left hand. So it's the left leg and the right hand, or the right leg and the left hand. Okay? And playing the banjo, it's on the side. Why? Left leg, left hand. Playing the banjo, it's on the side. Right hand, right leg. So the same leg, the same hand is always on the side. Remember that. 99.9% of the time. For example, white crane spread wings. It's square. Why? Right leg and left hand. Okay. What about blue dragon? Blue dragon is on the side. Why? Left leg and left hand. Okay. This is how you check. It's very important. Sometimes you don't know how much to turn, whether you should go on the side or you should go on the square. Okay. What about open close? Now open close is different. Two hands the same direction. If the two hands are on the same direction, or whichever direction, is always square. Because you cannot attack somebody this way. You have to attack somebody this way. So when you do open close, it's square. It's always square when the two hands is in front in the same equal amount of direction and proportion. Okay. What about let's say, what about open close? What about single whip? Single whip is coming like that. It's doing like that. Which direction? It's on the side. Why is it on the side? Left leg and left hand. Okay, what about, for example, we talk about brushing, playing the banjo, like I say, left leg and left hand. Left leg and left hand. So it's on the side. Okay, what about deflect, intercept, punch? So from here the brushing, so it's square. I rotate, I step, and I do a punch. A deflect like that. So right leg, left hand, so it's square. Okay, and then I turn and I do intercept. Now intercept, it's side. Why is it side? Left leg and left hand. And then I punch. See that? So it's square. Okay, and then I step back, it's on the side. Why? So from a square to a side. So I'm going to face this direction. Okay, from a square to a side, because left hand and left leg. Then I turn around, I square. Why is it square? Because both hands is in the front. So this is how you check yourself in the direction where you are going. Okay, left, whether it's square, whether it's side. Okay. Now, let me talk about what you call a good one will be cloud hands, waving hands like cloud. There's a lot of things going on from left and right. So let me go to one of them. Okay. Let me go on this side so you can see me. So from here, I drop my left hand. See that? From here, I'm side. I drop my left hand and my right hand is here. See that? I'm square. And then I bring it back. I'm side. Why is it side? Left hand and left leg. Walter, thank you. You reminded me the first time when you came here. So it helps me. Mucho gracias. So from here, I drop my right hand. I bring my left hand. Okay, then I shift over. Then I turn. Here. You see that? When I turn here, the right hand is in the front. So it's square. See that? It's square. Why is it square? The right hand in the front. So I sit back and I rotate. See that? I use the word rotation. You can rotate like that. You can shift back and rotate to make it easier if you want. I rotate all the way. And I step. And then I turn sideways. Why is it sideways? Because the right hand is in front. See that? Okay. I forgot one more thing. When I say step, I step on my heel. When I say tap, tap means like this. I tap on my toes or pivot on my toe. Pivot is usually mean turning pivot. When I do this, I mean tap and now step. So tap and now step. So these are some of the terms that I use in the teaching of the Tai Chi. So remember, okay, so that's are the side and those are the square. Let me give you one more example. One more example will be high pad on horse. That's a good one. So from the single whip, from here. So I cut, see, when I cut, what happened? The right hand is in the front, right leg is in the front, so it's side. Okay. Then I turn, I square. Why is it square? Because the left hand is in the front. Now I go up, I go sideways again, right hand in the front. And then the left hand is in the front, see, I'm square. And I turn, and I lift, what happened? I'm on the side. Why is that? Left leg and left hand. And then I sink, and high pad on horse. I am square. Okay. So a lot of things that's happening in the form is very consistent. I want to thank our founder. He's so freaking smart. So smart. He has to be. He's a scholar. He's not like me. I'm not so smart as him. He's a scholar. He knows how to make things right for us. As a scholar, as a writer, as an author, you want to make sure when somebody learns something from you, it's consistent so that they can carry the art to the purest they can be for the next generation. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm sure we lost a lot of it, but this Discord is going to help me, help you, help your students, help our next generation. Hopefully, Wuhao is going to flourish in the world and everybody will want to learn Wuhao. I probably will not be alive to watch this, but I hope to see it one day. Okay, just remember that if the whole world learned this Wuhao one day and really like it, I get promoted in the heaven, you know. I will stay in the 5-star hotel, you know. Otherwise, I'll stay in the 3-star hotel up there, something like that. So do your work, train more people, and let me be happy when I passed away. Okay, so that is the part I want to talk about, the side and the square. Okay, there's another thing I want to talk about is the 50-50. I'm going to talk a little bit more today. What do you mean by 50-50? I found out during the pandemic time that when anything that have a sudden change to the next movement, and when you go 50-50, the momentum is better. The momentum is better. And I tested it with my student in push hands, in Faji, and it works and it makes sense. And then I analyze it in science. All makes sense about momentum. So I'm a scientific guy. I got a Bachelor of Science degree at the University of Houston in computer science. But I study physics and chemistry and biology. And I did a few science subjects, especially physics. I never liked physics courses until I got serious with Tai Chi. I went back and relearned a lot of physics stuff. It made me understand about mechanics, about rotational, and about potential energy, talk about absolute energy. All that stuff start making sense to me in physics, and I really enjoy it. And I actually went back to college just to take another course in physics, and I make an A in it. And I was supposed to write an article in the class. I wrote about physics, about pushing hands, about rotational force and all that. The teacher was shocked. Then I write an article about human behavior, human movement, and everybody's running physics about other things, about atoms and all stuff, but I wrote about that. And he was wondering why I even do that, and how come I did that. I said, I'm teach Tai Chi. So he said, well, what I said, it makes sense. It makes sense in physics. I want to know if that's going to work or not if you actually apply it to me. So I showed him some pushing hands. I showed him how I deflect the force, how I neutralize. He was really shocked that that Tai Chi is physics, you know. So anyway, so 50-50. A very good example is brush knee. Okay, let's go to brush knee. I'm going to stay from here. And please train it this way. If you do, your brush need to be so good that you're going to brush the guy and fly 50 feet away, okay? So brush need to come from here. Okay, let's go back to the first review. What happened? Left leg, left hand. So therefore, sideway. Sink, left leg, left hand. Therefore, sideway. Step, I shift. That's 50-50. Okay, before I finish this, from here to here, there is a midpoint. That midpoint, I call it 50-50. When does the midpoint happen? The midpoint happens when the foot is all flat. For example, here. Okay, sink. I step. See, I don't step with my toes. If I step with my toe, then my body going forward. So I step with my heel. And when I shift 50-50, all my feet is on the ground. And then I start turning slowly towards 70-30. And then I brush. So that make it square now because of right hand in the front. So this is how you do your brushing. Many of you, I'm pretty sure, I'm sorry I'm saying it's you, I said many of you, I'm sure, even my students, they forget that they're so focused on moving here, they go here, all the way finish at 70-30, and then you brush. It's too late. That become a linear movement. There's no action and reaction. There's no Newton's law. It's not applied. Okay, so in this case, Newton's law is applied. So it has to be from here, step, shift 50-50, now I turn to a 70-30, and then I brush. Okay, so that's the meaning of 50-50. Okay, now what about open close? When do you actually start opening close? That's not easy. Okay. There's several ways to do it. It all depends on how strong your legs are. I don't have the rules on that, but I do have the rules on 50-50. I don't have the rules of how much you need to go back, how much you need to stay in that position before you start doing your action. I don't have that rules because it's different from each individual based on how strong your legs are. Okay, let me give you an example. Let's say I finish lazy to taiko from here. I sit back. When I do this, from here, 70-30. Okay, I don't do that. I shift back. So when I shift back 50-50, this hand finishes. Okay, so 70-30, I shift back 50-50. When this hand come here, this whole body is 50-50. Then I sit back. How much I sit back? Now this is 70-30. If I sit back more, that's 80-20. If I sit back more, that's 90-10. It's 90-10, I can lift on my leg. Should I do 90-10? Should I do 80-20? Should I do 70-30? We don't do 60-40. 60 here, 40 there. Very seldom. We do 70-30, sometimes 80-20, 90-10, very unusual. Only when you're very strong. Should you do 90-10? No, you should not. Especially when you're just learning Wohop. Maybe after 5 years of training, yes, you should. The reason why is because you want to develop stronger legs. But then you say, well, it's getting too tight on my legs. That's true. But if a leg is strong, you will not be tight. The reason why I recommended that when you get more years of training, again, you don't have to do it, it's because of push hands and application. Because sometimes when you're sitting just like this, and the person come and push into you, they come and push into you, and you didn't have enough time to neutralize, then you're going to get bounced out easily. Because you didn't have time to neutralize or you didn't listen strong enough. So, but if you go all the way back, then that person has to lean forward a little bit more to push it. So when he's touching you here, and you don't neutralize, you're going to be pushed off. If you go back a little bit, he has to lean forward more. If you go back all the way, and you are in the dangerous zone of yin, and then you move him away. You can go move him away, but you have to sit all the way back. But you have never sat all the way back, then you're going to be in trouble unless you have a higher listening skill. So you don't have to sit all the way back if you have a very high listening skill, but it's always good to do it once in a while. So that's how much you go back. So let me go into open close. So from here, I sit back, I sink all the way. Let's say I'm doing 70-30. This is 70-30, 70-30. And I'm going to shift forward. I'm going to shift forward now. And I'm 50-50, then I move. I finish 2. I don't know what you call this, maybe 60-40, or maybe 80-20. It's hard to calculate the weights here because the feet are almost together. So at 70-30, that's easy. So let's say I'm going to do it 80-20. I'm going to sit all the way here, and I do an open close half step. So when I'm going from here, I'm at 50-50, okay, I'll push. That's the only time you push, okay? Now, what position I normally stay? I always do a 70-30 or 80-20. I very seldom do 90-10 anymore. 90-10 means go all the way down here and do that. Because I'm not getting younger anymore, so I better love my foot a little bit more, love my body a little bit more, and be careful. Okay, so I usually do a 70-30 or 80-20. I would say most of the time 70-30 now. I used to do 90-10 back then, so I stopped because I have to love my knee. I don't want to have to get hurt. Okay, another thing important thing I forgot to tell you that half step. Half step in this knee is the back of this knee. Now sometimes I do a little bit more. As long as I know what I'm doing, it's okay. But you never want to push people. There's no fault. When you push people this way, it's stronger. If you see Bruce Lee fighting, he always goes stronger because anytime he can lift his kick up. But when you're here, it doesn't lift as fast. When you're here, there's more momentum. So that's the half step. Always remember the back knee is the back of the front knee. Okay. All right. That's the 50-50. The other thing I want to emphasize is the body direction. I think I talked about it last time, but I'm going to emphasize again. The forehead, the nose, the eye, the face, the chin, and the center, all the way to the dantian, it's all in one line, including these 2 shoulders. So when I do my open close, everything is one line. You see, even my toes, my 2 toes, my 2 heel, my 2 toes, my 2 knee, my 2 hip, my 2 shoulder, my center, my nose, my forehead, my chakra, my hand, all facing the same direction where it's going. That way I get the potential energy coming to my body to execute the absolute force on my opponent to knock the hell out of him. Okay, so that's why. So as you can see, Wu Hao is very important. Of course, your mind is also intended to. My intention. So mind and body align, internal and external harmony all align. Okay, at the same time. Okay, please check my video on internal harmony and external harmony. It's in YouTube. Those are very, very important YouTube if you want to understand Wu Hao at a high. I want to talk about another thing, rotation. Okay, rotation. The finger rotation, how you match the finger rotation. There are a lot of, there are a couple of moves that have the rotation on here, which I taught before, but I want to emphasize again because it's not easy to initiate the rotation. Okay, so let me use deflect, intercept, punch, and withdraw and push. When do you withdraw? When do you push? So deflect, intercept, punch. The punch is here. It's a square. This palm is open. This palm is closed. Okay, I'm here. So if you look at my distance here like this, deflect, intercept, punch. So you don't punch out like that. So where do you punch? Make sure it's about your hand should be less than 6 inches away. Don't go 1 feet away unless you are applying on someone. For the purpose of training the form, you want to keep as close as you can here. Okay, so at 70-30. So when I shift back, see that? I'm going to do that. You see, this hand, this finger is flat. It's going to turn like that. And they're going to open together. When you finish, you see that? This two finger is like this. Okay, watch. Sit back. See, this is going this way, this is going this way. They're together. They are rotating together. It's like the yin and yang circle. The two dots are turning together. They're turning together like this. So they are moving in a line with the yin and yang symbol. Yin and yang symbol. It's so cool if you really think about it. This Wu Hao is so cool. You know that? We are so lucky that that art still exists today, because it was never taught out of the country. Because our founder, all scholars and ministers and families are rich, they don't have to teach Wu Hao for a living. But we still get to learn it today. It's so beautiful. You can see the yin and yang circle moving like this. See that? The circle moving like this. So when I'm doing that, I sit back. When I'm doing that, I'm 50-50. See? And now they both turn together, and then it matches. And I bring it back, and I do an open close, and I do a half step. So when I do open close, I do a half step. The two finger tip, I'm moving together. It's not I'm doing a half step like that. No, they are moving together. The fingers are together, moving together, matching together, holding hands together like great lovers, and never be apart, because they need to stick to each other. Just like they're always in love, and nothing is gonna keep them apart. That's love, okay? Because yin and yang, if they're in balance, they're in love. Where they're in love, it's harmony, and then they can make family, you know. So, okay, so the finger part is the most difficult part, to be honest with you, because you have to really match it, and your body have to shift. Okay, so that's the power of showing the finger technique, matching, moving together, deflect in a set punch. Another one that is the finger is also the white crane spread wings. For example, from here, white crane 16. Lifting hands, see that? See this hand? See the finger together. Look at this right finger, it turns. Look at my left finger, it turns. It finished. It finished together. The finger finished together. So which one go first? They go together. It's the shifting of the body. Okay, so from here, which one go there? The body shifted and shift the finger to turn. So none of the finger are moving first or second. They're moving together. They're in equal proportion. Man and woman in equal rights, equal amount of love, equal proportion. Nobody's giving more, nobody's giving less. They're both loving together at the same time and finish at the same time. And then when it matches, and then it sync, you see all the fingers are moving together. They are moving together. They are in love, moving together. See that? So, finger movement. If you do that, then you're doing external harmony and internal harmony. You have to measure it to your mind. You have to focus and concentrate on each movement. So if you're constantly focusing in the right way, using your mindful intelligence and your body artificial intelligence, you're going to get this Wu Hao Tai Chi wisdom. That's very, very important. Okay, so let me get into doing the, what do you call, waving hands. Waving hands are a good one. Okay, waving hands. So from single whip, see the fingers are moving together, and then I'm going to go up. I'm going to drop. I'm going to go up. Now you watch this. Watch my left finger. Now this don't move that much yet. I shift, my finger go up, and then see how my finger rotate on the axis. See, my finger is rotating on the axis, and then my hand was turning this. So it's this kind of rotation. It's this kind of rotation. It's moving forward, so it's like this. It's like it's moving forward like this. So from here it's like this. And it going like this. Okay, and then it drops, and then it go up, and then it turns, and you see this finger? This finger and this finger are matching. They're matching in a different way, but the distance and the travel time are together. Nobody's ahead of anybody. Everybody is going in harmony. It's just like a stream of water when it flows. When the water is intact, they all flow together. There's no such thing as somebody is left behind. Everybody is together in harmony. Okay? So, let me see what's another move that we can do. We did that. We did a high pad on horse. And let me see. Let me think of open close we did, brush knee, playing the banjo we did. Let me do lazy to tie coat. That's an easy one. Not easy. Okay. So when we bend the knees, we raise your hand. Okay, and I shift to the left and I turn. You see the finger? You watch the two finger. It's synced together. See that? So they are going together, and then it drop is moving together. So the distance from distance where it doesn't separate. So I don't go like this. I don't do that. It's become separated. It's like that. So the power is coming from the hip, bringing the hands down, and then it push. Okay. If you do that, then the finger is touching your opponent. Nothing is moved, it's glued on them, and everything is maneuvered to here. Every time the person moves, then you move your finger and then you attack him. But every time, everything is a maneuver from the hip. The powerhouse is in the hip. Again. So that gave us a lot of information about the power of Wuha. That everything that we do has to be matching. You don't simply dance. You dance with class. You dance with rules. You dance with perfection. You need all that to make the dance look beautiful. Okay. Then you need a beautiful mind to do that. Okay. So that is for lazy to tie coat. Like I said, after you do that and you push forward and you bring it back and then you match it again, the finger, and you bring it down, two finger moving together, matching in love, and finished together. And the fingertips always matching. Okay. So this is something that you want to know. If you're in love, you know this. It works perfectly. Okay, let me think of another move. Let me see, let me think of a move on the second section. Okay. So after the high pad on horse, I touch and see how this whole finger moves together. And then it turns together. And then it cuts. And then you lift. And they go together and they kick. Okay? So that's also the finger movement. Okay. I think the best explanation is this one. The flank intercept bunch. That's the best one because the two hands are moving, two fingers are moving at the same time. So if you have any questions, I'm going to post this in Discord, transfer to Discord, and you can ask questions over there if you have any questions. And I'll be happy to answer some of your questions. And like I said, you have to use this mind of your own, which is your emotional intelligence here. And using this body as an artificial intelligence and put it together. So with a beautiful mind and a beautiful body moving together, you're going to have the true wisdom of the Tai Chi, which is a beautiful spiritual experience in your life. Okay. Thank you very much. And I'll see you next Wednesday.